quite a bit of reading recently about something called the sandwich generation. Have you heard of that? The sandwich generation is pretty much describing a generation of people like myself between the ages of 40 and 60 years old who are sandwiched between their elderly parents and their children and grandchildren. So it's a new term, or to me anyway, it's a new term, and it's been devised because they say that our parents' generation and my mum, for example, is in her 80s. So that generation are living longer, and so therefore there's a need to take care of them, and we have children and we're raising them at the same time, so hence we're defined as the sandwich generation. So with all that reading I did about that, because I wasn't too pleased about being defined like that, but it did prompt me to go through my journals. And the funny thing is that I realized that the people that I wrote about most in here consistently throughout the years have been my parents. My parents. And I can see the stages that I went through in regards to my writing and writing about them, because I see myself as that rebellious teenager, and at that stage my parents just got on my nerves. And then I see myself through my journals as the young adult who's trying to understand life, and I kind of calmed down and was a bit more patient with my parents. And then I see myself in my writing maturing, getting a little bit older, you know, in my adult years, and going through some of the same motions that they did, going through marriage, going through parenthood. And then I see that my writing regarding them changed, it softened a lot. I became much more understanding. Okay, I've gone through all these stages and now I'm here and I'm part of this sandwich generation. So what does that feel like? I can definitely say that I am sandwiched between my mum. Well, my mum now, because my dad has passed on. My mum is in her 80s. She's quite vibrant, quite independent, but nonetheless she's 82. And I do have a responsibility and a role in making sure that she is taken care of, you know, in terms of just general health, making sure that her day-to-day life is comfortable. And on the other end of the bread, I have an 8-year-old child as my youngest, and then I have an older child who's out the house now, but you still have some level of responsibility even when the children have grown and they're out the house. To say the least, it's a very interesting sandwich to be between. I'm not sure what kind I am in particular, but yes, I am part of this sandwich generation. I'm trying to understand why anyone would define this generation, my generation, as being sandwiched, because it almost feels like you're being squashed together between two, you know, opposing forces about to be eaten. Because when you think about it, isn't that what a sandwich is? But I definitely know what it's like to have to split one's schedule between, immediate family, children, work, personal life, parents. I don't even think that the term sandwich generation gives it its due role. It's more like a push and a pull and a balancing. It's really a balancing act. I would redefine it and call this generation more a juggling generation, because you're juggling different things. You're juggling your own life, you're juggling different responsibilities, you're juggling roles, and really it is to keep everything together. The goal is to keep all the balls up in the air, if that makes sense. What are your experiences? Are you part of that generation? Do you feel sandwiched in? Or do you feel like you're juggling? Like I feel like I'm juggling a lot of things, a lot of responsibilities. I'm beginning to understand this whole concept of the sandwich generation. And maybe our greater role is really trying to incorporate the values, the life experiences, and the wisdom from our parents into our own lives and into the lives of our children. Life values, lessons, how-tos, just giving them a clear sense as to how things were done before life became all technologically based. That's my hindsight. I thank you for sharing your time with me. I hope that my hindsight has and will inspire you, and that you will find your own way to blossom.